Hey everybody, welcome back to I Lost My Keys. I am Billy Benetti, and this is the third time I've recorded this video. It's got messed up a couple times, so that is why this video is out late, so my apologies. But I think 2 weeks ago now, I posted a voting poll in the Keyforge Facebook group, letting you guys decide on what my next video should be. The three options were looking at one of my favorite decks, sculpting the Archon to one of my favorite decks, or a special Goodwill deck video. And with a whopping 17 votes to 7 and 3, you guys wanted to see one of my favorite Keyforge decks. And I'm very excited to show you guys the deck I got today. The deck in particular that we have today is Shan El Abandoni. And I know that is not how you pronounce that in French. Also, this is a French deck. This deck is a super awesome deck, and I purchased this deck from Joker. And if you didn't know, Joker is having a super awesome tournament, the Vault Keeper / Vault Warrior tournament, and there is $900 worth of prize money on the line. And the best part, it's free to enter. So if you want to enter this amazing tournament, the link to the Discord server will be in the description down below. But with that out of the way, let's take a look at Shan, shall we? Okay, so we got Shan right here. It is a Saurian Shadows Starlance Worlds Collide deck. And the reason I bought this deck in particular was because I really wanted a good Saurian Shadows Starlance Worlds Collide deck, specifically one with a lot of stealing. And Shan definitely packs a punch when it comes to stealing. It's just a really cool deck. And also check out that Archon. That is one epic Archon right there. And we are gonna sculpt this bad boy, but that'll be another video. At the moment, let's take a look at what Shan has to offer. Also, just so you guys know, I'm not gonna show the cards how they are listed on the list card. I have them in a specific order closer to Decks of Keyforge, with just a couple things that are different. Also, I'm going to read what the cards do on Decks of Keyforge so it is easier to translate. But the first card we have is Axiom of Grisk. The next one we have is my favorite card of all time, Golden Spiral. Next we have Brutodon and a Grimlockus Dux, which is a very epic card in the sense of, well, he's a giant dinosaur dude. Who doesn't love a giant dinosaur dude? I know I love giant dinosaurs. We also got Livia the Elder. On top of that, we got a Profectus Ludo, which is a very good creature to have, especially in multiples. Yeah, this deck has 2 Profectus Ludos, which I thought was really cool. Next, we got Raider Gallon, which is a fantastic creature. Just a nice little key cost increase creature. And after that, we got Theros Centurion. Just a nice little play, fight, capture 1 creature. And we got 2 of those as well. So some nice little amber control there. I mean, I really like the play capture 1. You know, that could potentially take your opponent off check. I think it's a nice little form of amber control. Also, we got an Imperial Scutum, which is very, very nice, especially a second Scutum. That was one thing about the Saurian that I really, really liked, is that it has a lot of ways to protect the amber on your creatures. Next, over in Shadows, we got a Hit and Run, which is a very, very nice card to go along with Runny Wrist Clocks, which may or may not be in this deck. Next, we got Hunter or Hunted. Next, we got Oubliette. Some decent little creature control there. Next, we got Sack of Coins, which is definitely better creature control in my opinion. Next, we got ourselves Subtle Chain, which is a very fun card. I really like the idea of, you know, Subtle Maul, but as an action. I just like Subtle Chain more than Subtle Maul. Then after that, we got Trust No One, which is a fantastic card. I actually feel this card is sometimes underrated, because if you don't have a board, this card can be very troublesome, especially in multiples. I did have one game where I stole 6 amber because I had both Trust No Ones and my opponent had a creature from each house. I still ended up losing that game, but it was still a fun play. Next, we got Gambling Den, which is a very interesting card. I'm trying to decide if this deck likes to run with Gambling Den or if it doesn't like to run with Gambling Den. It's definitely an interesting card though. I do like it. It's very Keyforge-esque, and it's definitely a fun little card to have in this deck. But again, I'm still not sure if this deck likes to run with it or not. Next, we got one of my favorite Shadows creatures of all time, and no, not Ronnie Wrist Clocks, Chain Gang. Obviously, great with Subtle Chain, considering it always comes with Subtle Chain. But Chain Gang is just a fun little Worlds Collide Shadows creature. And I don't know, I just really like Chain Gang. It's just a fun little creature to have. Next, we got Hugger Mugger. This is a semi-lackluster Shadows Worlds Collide creature, but for all the lackluster Shadows Worlds Collide creatures, this is one of the best ones. So that's something. And you also have 2 of them, so I mean, you know, it's not that bad. After that, we got ourselves Ronnie Wrist Clocks. There was a hit and run to go with the Ronnie. Obviously, Ronnie and hit and run go together beautifully, and Ronnie's just a great card in general. Moving on to Star Alliance, we got ourselves a Zap. Another fun little creature control card. After that, we got Tactical Officer Moon, which is a very interesting card. This deck doesn't necessarily need her that much, but she's still a nice card to have. Next, we have Helmsman Spears, which is the only form of cycling in the deck, which is kind of sad, but if she ends up living, oh my gosh, can she be a game changer for you. Next is probably the most important card in the entire deck, Science Officer Morpheus. Science Officer Morpheus is just such a great card, and I always wanted a deck with Science Officer Morpheus. Now that I have one, it is very fun, and you'll see why he is so important, because you have Sensor Chief Garcia ×2. Make that ×3. So Sensor Chief Garcia and Science Officer Morpheus, such a great combo. It is so much fun to just make your opponent's keys cost so much, and that's like this whole deck's strategy. It's really cool. But there's more stuff to get to. We also have Universal Translator, which is alright. This is the second form of house cheating in the deck. First being my favorite card, Golden Spiral. And then after that we have Light of the Archons, which is very awesome for all the upgrades we have, especially having a second Light of the Archons. This deck is definitely like a heavy upgrade deck, and we still have 2 more left, which are Garcia's Blaster and Garcia's Blaster. If you're not familiar with the blasters, they all have like, you may deal 2 damage to a creature or attach to the owner of the blaster, in this case Sensor Chief Garcia, and when you attach it to Sensor Chief Garcia, you get to steal 1 amber. So having 2 of these is really fun. Also, obviously, you know, there used to be blaster bouncing, which made this deck even crazier. In a situation like this, if you had all 3 ready and out, you could just, you know, reap, steal 2, reap, steal 2, reap, steal 2. Which is pretty crazy and broken. And in fact, when I was testing this deck on TCO didn't take out blaster bouncing. So I was like, dang, this deck is crazy, but unfortunately that is no longer a combo that is legal in the game. But this deck still runs really nicely without blaster bouncing. And even though it'd be awesome if this combo still worked, you still have another way to steal 6 amber in this deck with double trust no ones. I don't think there are many decks that can say they lost one way to steal 6 amber, but there's still a different way to steal 6 amber in the deck. However, this deck has a pretty crazy legal combo. If you had at least Science Officer Morpheus out with Universal Translator and Raider Gallum, you put down 3 Sensor Chief Garcias. The key cost is doubled for each of these because of Morpheus, so instead of making your opponent's keys cost 6 more, they're costing 12 more. Then you reap with Morpheus, use a friendly creature, reap with Gallum, exalt, and add 3 more to the 12. You have now made your opponent's keys cost an extra 15 amber for a total of 21 amber for 1 key. I gotta say, that's pretty bonkers. But with that out of the way, let's take a look at Shan on decks of Keyforge. If you did not know, it is a 77 SAS deck, which I think is pretty nice. Now let's take a look at these cards. So we got Axiom of Grisk, play, ward a creature, destroy each creature with no amber on it, gain 2 chains. The Golden Spiral, my favorite card. Action, exalt a friendly creature, ready and use that creature. Fantastic card. Brutodon Auxiliary has Taunt and Hazardous 2. Grimlockus Ducks, taunt, play, exalt Grimlockus Ducks twice. Livia the Elder. Reap, you may exalt Livia the Elder. If you do, each friendly creature's fight effects and reap effects are fight reap effects for the remainder of the turn. Perfectus Ludo, each other friendly creature gains destroyed. Move each amber from this creature to the common supply, and there are 2 of those. Raider Gallum, play, your opponent's keys cost +3 more amber during their next turn. Reap, you may exalt Raider Gallum. If you do, your opponent's keys cost +3 amber during their next turn. Thero Centurion, play, fight, capture 1 amber. There are also 2 of those, as well as 2 Imperial Scutums. This creature gets +2 armor and gains destroyed. Move each amber on this creature to the common supply. A very, very good upgrade. So really quick, I'm just going to give a little breakdown for Saurian. So I've played almost 20 games with this deck now, and this deck loves its Saurian. Obviously, you know, with big creatures like Brutodon, Grim, Ludo even, and you know, Thero, obviously you got some pretty beefy creatures. This deck does not have a lot of creature control, as you can see over here by its 9.7 creature control, only having 7 cards that actually deal with creature control. Having big body creatures is nice just in case if you need to fight. So Livia the Elder is one of those rares that, like, you're not so excited to see her unless she has a purpose, and this deck does have a purpose for her. She works really well with Thero Centurion, making Thero Centurion's fight effect a fight reap effect. So that is huge. So it's not like she's just a dead card in the deck. Obviously, Grim and Brutodon are nice for their taunts. They are massive creatures, so you know, it's hard to take them out, especially Grim. So I mean, whichever neighbors you put alongside Grim usually stay in play for a while, so it's very, very nice. Having a board wipe is huge. Raider's great, and the Golden Spiral, you know, just a fun little house cheating card. And obviously, Imperial Scutum is a great card to have, you know, just to make sure you can take the amber off of your creatures, you know, whether it's through exalting or capturing. Great card to have, and even better to go alongside the Light of the Archons. But we'll get to the Star Alliance in a second. Next, we go over to Shadows with Hit and Run, play, deal 2 damage to a creature, return a friendly creature to your hand. Hunter or Hunted, play, ward a creature, or move a ward from a creature to another creature. Very nice artwork, I must say. I really like the purples in this card, just, you know, from an art standpoint. I think it's really, really cool. Then we got Oubliette, play, purge a creature with power 3 or lower. Very nice card. Next, we got Sack of Coins, play, deal 1 damage to a creature for each amber you have. Subtle Chain, play, your opponent discards a random card from their hand. Trust No One, play, steal 1 amber. If there are no friendly creatures in play, instead steal 1 amber for each house represented among enemy creatures to a maximum of 3. And we got 2 of those, which is pretty nice. Gambling Den. At the start of each player's turn, that player may choose a house. If they do, reveal the top card of their deck. If it is of the named house, they gain 2 amber. Otherwise, they lose 2 amber. So it is literally gambling. That is very, very Keyforge. Whether you play it or not, it's a very fun card. Chain Gang, again, one of my favorite Worlds Collide Shadows creatures. After you play Subtle Chain, ready Chain Gang. Action, steal 1 amber, shuffle a Subtle Chain from your discard pile into your deck. Hugger Mugger, elusive, and play. Capture 1 amber, then if your opponent has more forged keys than you, steal 1 amber. And you got 2 of those there as well. And a Ronnie Wrist Clocks, play. Steal 1 amber. If your opponent has 7 or more amber, steal 2 instead. A phenomenal creature. So obviously, the first combo, Hit and Run plus Ronnie Wrist Clocks, a great combo that's just easy, fun for you, and just works all the time. Hunter or Hunted is a weird card, but it's fun. You get to ward a creature or basically steal a ward from a creature, which is very Shadows-esque, so that's pretty cool. Also, there are only 2 cards that ward in this entire deck, just so you know. Subtle Chain and Chain Gang, seriously, just fantastic. And obviously, even better if you have both in your hand at the same time. Just a great, great combo right there. And Trust No One, again, is a great card. Anything that just does direct stealing in general is fantastic. Hugger Mugger is very interesting because it kind of seems like Sea Urchin, but it's a little different in the sense of its capture. Then if your opponent has more forged keys than you, steal 1 amber. So what's cool is you get both effects. If your opponent has more forged keys than you capture and you steal, as opposed to capture or steal. So that's really, really cool. I mean, obviously you want to get that steal off, and it doesn't really happen. I've only successfully pulled off Hugger Mugger once, but still, really nice card for the meh Worlds Collide Shadows creatures. In Starlines, we got Zap. Play, deal 1 damage to a creature for each house represented among creatures in play. That goes for you and your opponent, so a maximum of 6 damage, which is pretty interesting. Helmsman Spears. Fight, reap, discard any number of cards from your hand. Draw a card for each card discarded this way. Science Officer Morpheus. After you play a creature with a play effect, trigger its play effect an additional time. This is such a good creature. Science Officer Morpheus is fantastic. I love this creature so much. Censor Chief Garcia, play, fight, reap. Keys cost +2 amber during your opponent's next turn, and we got 1, 2, and 3 of those. Tactical Officer Moon, Assault 2, play, you may rearrange the creatures in a player's battle line. Again, like I said when I was showing you the deck, it doesn't really do that much, but I will say though, after she enters play, that Assault 2 is huge. Garcia's Blaster, this creature gains fight, reap, you may deal 2 damage to a creature, or attach Garcia's Blaster to Censor Chief Garcia. After you attach Garcia's Blaster to Censor Chief Garcia, steal 1 amber, and we got 2 of those, which is pretty nice. Light of the Archons, this creature gets +1 power and +1 armor for each upgrade attached to it. And last but not least, we also got Universal Translator. This creature gains fight, reap, use a friendly non-Star Alliance creature. Science Officer Morpheus. I can't tell you how much I love this card. After you play a creature with a play effect, trigger its play effect an additional time. That not only works for Censor Chief Garcia, Tactical Officer Moon, but it also works for things like Hugger Mugger, Ronnie Wrist Clocks, Thero Centurion, Raider Gallum, unfortunately Grimlockus Ducks. I personally don't want to exalt Grimlockus Ducks 4 times, but you know, that's just me. Obviously, the Censor Chief Garcia is huge. Considering just playing it makes your opponent's keys cost 2. This basically turns into almost a form of scaling amber control, which Shan does not have any scaling amber control. But with 21 amber control, I don't think you need it. Censor Chief Garcia is a really good creature that can definitely be a problem to your opponent if they don't take care of it. And then being able to steal 2 amber with these 2 Garcia's Blasters is really nice. Considering Starlines doesn't see a lot of stealing, it is nice to have that as an option. Also, it's immediate stealing. You just get to steal 1 amber the second you attach it to Censor Chief Garcia, which is huge. And that's something that this deck really spoke to me about. But so look, we got 2 immediate steal cards over here. We got a 3rd one right here, and a 4th and a 5th. And then if you have Subtle Chain in your hand, you got a 6th one as well. Now, I will say Hugger Mugger is conditional stealing. You have to meet the condition of your opponent having more keys than you in order to steal. But if they do, well, that's 2 more steal cards, and now you have 8 stealing cards. That's really, really good for a Worlds Collide deck, I must say. This deck is just such a fun deck. I love it so much. I just wanted like a really fun deck that had a lot of immediate steals and just was different than any deck I've ever seen before. Those are the type of decks that I love to take the time to learn how to play it. And Shan, at least to me, was that deck. And 21 amber control. That's a lot. This deck is my signature deck right now. Well, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed me talking about a deck that's near and dear to my heart. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and thank you so much for all of your support. I just recently hit 70 subscribers, which is like really dumbfounding to me in the sense of I started last year with only 14 subscribers, and the fact that I've jumped to 70, like that like touches me so much that you guys, you know, want to see my content, and just thank you so much. I'm almost close to my first big goal of hitting 100 subscribers, which I'm 30 subscribers away from now. So that is awesome. And thank you again for all your support. It really, really means the world to me. So if you're liking I Lost My Keys, make sure to like and subscribe. Just thank you guys so much for everything you do for me, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Until next time, I will see you guys later. Peace.